Hello and thanks for stopping by. Recently I thought I would try and build a base game tiny starter home that you and your Sims can enjoy straight away when you get into gameplay. Before starting this build, I knew I wanted this starter to be a tiny home and a home that you can easily place in any of the worlds. So I chose to build this on a 20 by 15 lot in Newcrest, one of the base game worlds. And in case you wanted to know the total price for this starter home, it is up for sale for 19,019 Simoleons, leaving your Sims with some spare after making the purchase. Also, because I used base game only to build this starter home, all Sims should be able to purchase this home. I already built the pond, which you will see is one of the first things that pops up in this video before I start on with the rest of the build. That's because I didn't record the build process of the pond, but next time hopefully I will remember to record it. This home is 8 tiles across and 7 tiles down, including the front entrance and the conservatory at the back. I didn't use many tiles because I just wanted to give it that tiny starter home feel. This time for this speed build, I did remember to record in order, starting with the outside first and then moved on to the inside, which if you have watched my Casita del Amor renovation video, you will know what I mean, because in that video I said I wanted my future builds to be in order just to make it easier for you to watch, because in that renovation the build and the recording was a bit all over the place. But yeah, thankfully this time I remembered to keep things in order, so this speed build should be easier for you to watch. Now that I have given you some info on the size and price of the lot, I will now talk about the exterior and interior of this home. Once the shell was built and raised up one level to create a platform for the shell to sit on, I placed on top the gabled roof over most of the house, apart from the conservatory. To create the roof for the conservatory, I just used the smooth keeper fence, which is what I use for most of my Sims conservatories. I hope in the future the Sims team can add some more roofing options, because at the moment when building conservatories, I'm finding it difficult giving them a roof, unless there is a trick that I don't know about that some Simmers use with the roof options we already have to cover their conservatories. If there is, please let me know in the comments below. That would be super helpful for future builds, and maybe it will help other Simmers as well. For the gabled roof, I used a soft red swatch because that seemed to fit best with the beige paneling I used on the exterior walls. I do later change the color of the paneling where the front entrance sits to a dark brown, just to give it a bit more color to the outside of the house, which you will see me change towards the end of the video. Talking about the front entrance, I added a tiny little decking area and pulled the roof over the decking just to give some shelter to the entrance. To support the roof hanging over the decking, I added in some brown wooden pillars to match the exterior walls, the simple picket fence that surrounds the decking, and the windows and doors. I absolutely loved the base game windows with the shutters and the new swatches that came with them in the base game update we had very recently. To keep things simple and keep the cost down, but at the same time give a garden vibe to the front of the house, I used the smooth keeper fence to create kind of a little garden bed that sits in front of the windows, and in this I popped in 2 hedges which I sized down. I also used these hedges at either side of the path that leads to the front entrance. I used the new landscaping clay gravel pavers paint that came with the recent big base game update to create the path. This has got to be my favorite terrain paint so far, and I'm probably going to be using this actually a lot for my future builds. For the rest of the landscaping around the house, I just used the natural oasis grass paint and used the smarter starter soil paint underneath the plants, pond and stepping stones, which you will see me place in later on in the video. For some more little touches to the front of the house, I added some planter boxes just under the windows and placed a light just above the front door, just to light up the entrance at night. And of course not forgetting the all-important mailbox, which I placed in one of the hedges. For the back of the house, I copied the same decking from the front entrance and pasted it to the back of the house where the sliding doors sit. I placed in the sliding doors so that your Sims have easy access to the back garden from their bedroom. I added the same clay gravel pavers paint in the back garden, leading your Sims from their bedroom to the barbecue area. To give a smooth finish to the gravel pavers, I surrounded the path with the smooth keeper fence. In the barbecue area, I placed a simple picnic table with a barbecue close by, so that your Sims should hopefully autonomously sit and eat their food at the picnic table once they have finished grilling. And to give a little shelter to the barbecue area, I placed in the corner a weeping willow tree. Also, I personally think the weeping willow tree looks great in a garden, garden as it creates shelter, and also they look great hanging over a river if there is one flowing past your Sims home. With the recent repairs to the game, I could put in a barbecue now without worrying about my Sims guests coming over, making a lot of those de-stressing drinks and then leaving my Sims to clean them up, which some of you Simmers might know what I'm talking about if your Sims had a barbecue in their garden. But thankfully that bug has been fixed and the guest purpose is now to actually visit my Sims instead of the barbecue grill. From the barbecue area, your Sims have some stepping stones that lead them to their pond. This is the first time I've actually built a pond in The Sims, and I have seen some other Simmers create some really amazing ponds, but honestly I personally try and avoid building a pond just because I think they're really tricky to build or make. And in this build I probably spent the longest time on the pond, but eventually it came together somewhat in the end. Hopefully over time though I can get better at building ponds. To give life to the pond, I placed in some tadpoles, dragonflies and a bog log, where sometimes the little turtles come out and sit up on it. For the finishing touches to the back garden, I added a wheelbarrow and a watering can sitting next to the pond, which I got these from the base game debug part of the catalogue. I also attached some base game debug what look like wall climbing plants to the side of the house near the conservatory, and I placed in some more debug plants near the barbecue area just to save some simoleons and add more plants to the garden. And not to forget, I dotted some lights around just to light up the back entrance, pond and barbecue area. Having the lights dotted around really gives a comfortable feel, I think, to the back garden when your Sims are enjoying their barbecue in an evening with their friends and family. Also, just a tip, the pond is super useful for your Sims to fulfill their fun need, which might be useful to know because they don't have a TV in this starter home. Now that I have finished talking about the outside, I will leave you now to watch the finishing touches being added to the back garden. I will jump back in later when we move on to the inside of the house. Moving on to the inside of the house, walking through the front door, your Sims are greeted with a small entryway, a place for your Sims to just hang their outdoor wear, well you can imagine that that's what they do, and set their indoor footwear rules. When your Sims walk through the archway that sits in the wall, they enter straight into the kitchen. The kitchen is pretty simple with a few cabinets, a cheap cooker and a fridge, a little bin in the corner and some cutlery from clutter, and not to forget the alarm over the cooker for your Sims' safety. I would have loved to add more to this kitchen, but with the budget I had, I couldn't really do that, but it gives your Sims some space to decorate as their simoleons build up over time. From the kitchen, under a smaller archway that leads through to the conservatory, your Sims have a little living room. I love giving my Sims conservatories because of the natural light that they bring in, and if your Sims has a good view, why not give them a conservatory where they can enjoy the view that their house has to offer? It's such a selling point for my Sims if a house comes with a conservatory. I didn't add a TV in this living room like I mentioned before, just because of the budget I was on, so instead I placed in a fishbowl. For the finishing touches to this living room, I attached shelves to the wall with clutter and decor and some books, so that your Sims can sit in one of the cozy chairs sat on top of a warm rug to read and look out at their back garden. Moving on to the 4-tile bathroom, I could only fit in a toilet and a shower. I couldn't fit in a sink because of the space and the limited simoleons I had, but they can always use the kitchen sink until they can save up simoleons and make the bathroom a little bigger than it is now. Originally, I wanted to add in another door from the bathroom so that your Sims had access from both the kitchen and the bedroom, but adding 2 doors would have left your Sims with even less space, and it would have just been like a bathroom with either just a toilet or just a shower, which would not have been convenient for your Sims. From the kitchen and to the right of the entryway, your Sims have double doors leading through to their bedroom. In the bedroom, your Sims have a single bed with a little side table and some window ledges at either side for more storage. I also popped in the wardrobe, which I think we got with a base game update at some point, not sure when, but I think this is the first time I've used this wardrobe in a build, which I can see myself placing this wardrobe in a few builds because I quite like its design and swatches it has. It's just a nice and simple wardrobe. And for the finishing touches to this room, I added in an off-the-grid tall candle standing light, handy for keeping the bills down, some plants and decor, a small rug near the sliding doors that lead out to the back garden, and a mirror where your Sims can up their charisma and other skills. For the entryway, kitchen and living room, I used the glorious grain hardwoods flooring just because I really like the detailing this wood flooring has. And for the bathroom, I used white wood flooring to tie in with the walls and plumbing. And for the bedroom, I used a light brown wood flooring to make the room feel a little lighter and more spacious. I originally wanted to use tiles for the bathroom floor, but there were none from base game that fit well with the walls. For the walls in most of the rooms, apart from the bedroom, I used my favorite paint, which is the Pure Expressions paint, and if you have seen my other videos, you will probably notice I use this paint often. For the bathroom walls, I did use the Pure Expressions paint again to cover most of them, but used the Gristle glue tiles to cover one wall, just to make the bathroom a little more different and less plain. For the bedroom walls, I used the cheapest paint in a dark brown swatch to cover 2 walls and painted the other 2 in a light brown swatch, just to add a little extra to the bedroom because I felt this room was also looking a little plain, so it was nice to give this room a bit more variation compared to the other rooms in the house. Once I had finished building, I wanted to check if this home was within the 20,000 simoleon starter home budget by moving in a sim, but realized I couldn't move them in because this home was actually just a little over budget. So I had to go back into build mode and delete some objects that I didn't think were necessary. Well, at least necessary for those sims just starting out. So that's why at the end of this video, you will see me delete the coffee maker, the mat by the front entrance, the outside bin, and the candles that were sat by the sliding doors in the bedroom. Before placing this on the gallery, I added 3 base game lot traits to this home. I say base game lot traits because I didn't realize until finishing up this video that different lot traits come with different packs. So with that being said, the first lot trait is Bracing Breezes. This trait helps your sims up their fitness skills faster, which is great for those athletic sims. Second one is the Homey lot trait, helping with the skills that sims enjoy whilst at home, including cooking, mixology, handiness, and gardening. And the third and final trait for this lot is Fast Internet, helping those writers, programmers, and video gamers. This base game tiny starter home is now up on the gallery as as Base Game Tiny Starter under Just a Fan of the Sim, similar to the name of this channel but without the S on the end. A screenshot with the gallery information will pop up at the end of this video after the tour. I took a screenshot of this lot up on the gallery just so that you can easily find it. Before placing this starter home into your Sims world, please make sure to turn on BB Move objects just so that things are not misplaced or go missing when you place this lot down into your Sims worlds. I hope your Sims enjoy their new life in this tiny starter home and possibly enjoy renovating this home over time with their saved up simoleons. I also wanted to share with you that I did a renovation of the Cozy Corner house, which is the small house built in the Appaloosa area, not sure if I'm saying that right, in Chestnut Ridge, the world that came with the Horse Ranch expansion pack. I just want to note first though, the Cozy Corner house was originally built by Ninster. I think I'm saying that right as well. So if you want to check out their builds, you can. If I've not said that right, their name has popped up on screen somewhere. I didn't do a speed build or stop motion video for my renovation of the Cozy Corner house, but I did upload it to the gallery as the Cozy Corner house Ren. So if you want to download that, you can. I renovated the Cozy Corner house because I wanted my sim to have a family, so I had to make this into a 2-bedroom home. I pretty much kept the original layout when renovating this home. I just extended some walls to make the kitchen, bedroom and bathroom a little bigger, and extended the small room on the second floor to fit in a second bedroom. I also added an extra little room to the left of the house to place in a nectar maker and some racks where your Sims can store their nectar so they can age up finely. And I placed a fence around most of the house, giving it more privacy. I did change the garden a lot by planting a lot of plants for your Sims so that they can harvest it ready for making some nectar. And I also added in some prairie grass, as this lot already came with the wild prairie grass lot challenge, and also prairie grass is useful for making nectar, and also they can find lots of cool little things when harvesting the prairie grass. And because I really like and often use the laundry day pack in gameplay, I extended the kitchen to fit in a little laundry corner, and because my sim who was living in this house was outdoorsy, I placed a clothes line outside in the front garden just to get them outdoors. If your Sims have a baby, infant or toddler Sim, you might have to have them stay on the first floor with the parents until they reach childhood. That's because the parent Sim can't carry them up and down the ladder unless there is a way for parent Sims to be able to carry them up and down the ladder, which I don't know about. In times like these, this is where I wish there were like smaller ladder options like a spiral staircase, because if they had a spiral staircase, it leaves your Sims with plenty of space in their small starter homes or tiny homes, but it also allows your Sims to carry things up and down stairs. Oh, and not to forget, I think my sim left some bottles of nectar in the racks for your Sims. And that's it for today's video. I will leave you now to watch the rest of the tour of the house. Before I go though, thank you to those for liking, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot, and a big thank you for watching, and see you next time.